So I will introduce our guest lecturer today, Deon Morrow. So Deon Morrow is a contemporary artist from Emporia, Kansas, whose work explores movement, emotion, and memory through layered color and gesture, turning everyday scenes into vivid moments that invite reflection, closeness, and love. His paintings examine movement as more than motion. His works are studies of feeling, presence, and the charged moments that shape how we exist and connect. Morrow is the executive director of House of Morrow Art Fund, an organization to strengthen underserved communities in the Emporia area through the cultivation of public arts and services. His leadership bridges artistic practice and community impact, creating pathways for expression, literacy, and cultural engagement. A former two-sport collegiate athlete turned artist, Morrow brings the discipline of sport into a creative career that has reached audiences both domestically and internationally. His work and advocacy positioned him as a strong community service advocate and a champion for the arts across Kansas. In all things, his mission remains clear: bring the love back. Please welcome Deon Morrow.
First and foremost, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be able to come here and speak about my life. I haven't really done this a whole lot, so you're in for a treat. Like she said, bring the love back. It'll make more sense here in a bit. Just wait. So I am, hey, pup. I'm Deon Morrow, and we'll talk a little bit about early life. I was born and raised here in Emporia, Kansas. And there's not too many folks that look like me here, but my community has made me feel nothing but family here. It's amazing what I've been able to do here and the support I've been able to have here. My family. So my mother here, right here, she's actually here in the front row. Yeah. As you can see, she's a fireball. She's the reason why my blood runs hot. And then my father, he is not here today, but he's still here. He's still alive, but he's not here today. He stays at home with my sister over here, my sister Tori, and then I have a younger sister Nikki, and I'm sure you've seen her at the Sweet Granada. But just backtracking, my mom. She's a spitfire. She's our leader. Our fearless leader. She's a little rough, but she gives back. She's the most giving person I know. My father, he's more of a Mr. Miyagi kind of guy. He'll never give you a straight answer. He'll make you think about it, which used to piss me off a lot when I was younger, but I understand it now. And then my sister Tori, she's my older sister. She has special needs, and if you've ever been around people with special needs or know somebody that has, sometimes you wonder. She's got so much personality. She's taught me so much about life. She's something else. And my little sister, we had a 13-year age gap, and we kind of go back and forth. But here lately, I've grown to love the woman that she's becoming. So sports, for me, that was my community. Growing up here, there wasn't really a whole lot to do, but sports was one of those things where it taught me a lot about life. It gave me a lot of opportunity and a few things like indiscipline. If you're not a disciplined player, you're not going to be a good player. It taught me discipline at a young age. I remember going into a gym at Walnut Elementary School, and Mr. Perez was teaching me how to play basketball. And I've always been kind of athletic, so I looked like a newborn deer out there, and he had the patience to kind of direct me and like, hey, don't just run and jump. You have to have a reason to run and jump. So discipline and being able to learn and having those people teach me like, hey, if you're going to be good at this, you have to understand like these are the ways to be disciplined about the way that you go about work. Structure. Working in teams teaches structure. You can be the best on your team, and if you're not making the people around you better, it's very difficult to win. And you have coaches. You have to respect the people that have been there, that are trying to teach you something. And that taught me a lot about structure, is that I've had amazing coaches and coaches, teachers, and that's been a through line in my life is somebody has information for you. If you're willing to learn, you can win. Community. I love my community. Grew up here, born and raised. Used to run around the medicine shop. Shout out to everybody that stayed out of the way and didn't hit me with their cars because I was running in and out of the streets. But my community made it possible for me to be successful, not only in life, but in sports as well. All the coaches, all the teachers that maybe when my parents didn't have time to take me to these tournaments, it was something that they just took it upon themselves because they knew I was a good player and they made a way for me. And that still kind of happens today. I do a lot in the community, but that's not without the help of my community members that are doing the actual work. City pride. So grew up playing for Emporia Black, Emporia Red. I'm very much in love with Emporia and Kansas. In fact, like I'm hopelessly in love with it. We have so much that we're capable of doing that I just, wherever I go, and you can ask anybody in here, I'm always talking about coming to Kansas. Speaking of that, I have two friends here that are not from Emporia, but I've talked about it enough where I feel like they think this is a second home. But that's the way I feel about it. Even when I went away for college, I was telling people about Emporia. I've been from here to the corners of the earth, and I'm always going to invite people here to Emporia. Investment, going back to those coaches, like it takes a lot for a coach or a teacher to be away from their family to teach you how to do something. And you have to respect that because that's an investment in you. They think that you're going to take this information and do what you can to make it better. And investment doesn't only go one way. Invest in that person that's trying to teach you. Like, they're taking their time. Give your best. And in sports, investment means waking up early, getting those shots up, running those hills. And I'm grateful for sports for teaching me that early because I can take that from when sports is over to in my life right now. If I want something to happen, then I have to do the backward. I have to do the investment. And sports is an even playing field. Coming from blue-collar workers, we had what we needed, no more, no less. I'm very grateful for that. But sports was an arena where it doesn't matter if you're poor, what color, whatever shade. It's a place where you can show your investments, your community, your structure, your discipline, and it's all on an even playing field. Sports turned out pretty well for me. I ended up graduating and going and playing at Oklahoma State with a track scholarship and a football scholarship. I was the number one recruit out of Kansas at the time. I got a few records here and there that are still standing. Don't mind me talking a little bit of smack. But it opened the world for me. I was able, like I said, I had blue-collar parents that were working very hard for us to live, and I knew from a very young age that I had to get a scholarship or it was military or something to go to college. So I'm grateful for sports being able to provide that for me. When I was there, I redshirted my first year, ran track, and then for the following years, I was a captain, played on some really good teams, won a lot of games, lost a few games. Don't do your fact checking. But played with a lot of amazing athletes. I played next to Tyreek Hill, played against Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and Jameis Winston. I've played against some top athletes. But a personal story about this is that, like, okay, I'm on TV, I'm coming home, I'm talking crazy to my mom, like, hey, I'm on TV, you see me at ESPN, Fox, whatever. I got numbers that are getting looked at the draft, and it's one of those things where my mom, she let me know, like, hey, you're big and bad now, but like as long as those grades are good, like don't make me come take you out of college. Like, and if you know her, she'd probably do that. So at that time, I was young, and you don't want your mom showing up on campus. So like I did what I was supposed to do, and I ended up graduating with a marketing degree, a management degree, and an entrepreneurship degree. And it it paved the way for the rest of my life. It's one of those things where no matter how big you get, like those principles, those communities come back into play. Um, so I was fortunate enough to play at the next level, but sports do end for a lot of athletes out there, and that's one of those things where when you've dedicated your life to it, you're not sure who you are after that. And being able to step back and still have a community, it's important. Um, I went through that when sports ended for me. Like, yeah, I had all these degrees. It looks great on paper. Looks like everything would be all right. I ended up not going to the NFL. I had 3 degrees, and I was a 2-sport athlete, so I got picked up by an advertising agency right out of college. So amazing, amazing. But mentally, just wasn't really there for me. Now looking back on it, I found out it was depression. Depression it's one of those things where you're going through it, but not necessarily, it's affecting the people around you, it's affecting the things that you do. I was silent about it, and I lost a lot of direction. This next slide is for those people that might need a little help, and I'll let you read that. Uh, that kind of goes right into COVID, you know. So a little continuation of that story. So when I was working for that advertising agency, just going through a lot. And around that time, we were doing a lot of work with Monsanto, and big bad company. They got acquired by Bayer. And during that time, they were getting sued for Roundup, and lost a lot of money, lost a lot of business with that, and I was one of the last ones in, so that's kind of first one out. And at that time, I lost my position there. So I'm out in the middle. I had moved to St. Louis at this time, out in the middle of nowhere. My parents are back here. Didn't really know what to do. So falling back on the sports, I would wake up every day, go work out at 4:30 in the morning. Just didn't really know what to do at that point. But building your community is important. So there was a Marine there that would watch me walk in, day in, day out, and I was just working out, just getting big for no reason. I'd come home, my neck would be this big because I'm just buffed up, you know. And he would ask me, he's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you here every day? Like, don't you have other stuff to do? What are you doing? So I give him my sob story, and he's looking at me like a Marine would. And he's like, okay, why are you crying? Come on, get up. You're bigger than that. And he's saying, like, as long as the sun comes up, you're good. You have another opportunity. So during this time, I'm figuring it out, how I can move forward. Who am I? What am I doing? What's the point of this? I get my resume together. Still not all the way there, but I end up working for a startup artificial intelligence company. Learned a lot there, and it was at the very beginning when it was just AI getting put on chatbots and learning that process, and I was a salesman too, so I was talking smack then too. But I was learning a lot. I was around a lot of people, and I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. And St. Louis, to me, is one of those small, big cities where everybody knows everybody. There's these little pockets of just activity happening. And it was one of those things where I could figure out who I wanted to be next, and I was around those people that were pouring into me. They were investing in me. I was learning more. I had my friend Jack up there and his family, just giving me opportunities, having me think about things differently. And then everything was starting to get better, and then COVID hit, and the world kind of just shut down, and I'm sure it affected everybody here. And I'm 5 hours away, and I'm thinking, okay, do I want to be 5 hours away from mom and pop or 5 minutes down the road? So I come home. Family is super important, and when I come home, there's a feeling of like, okay, this community has served me before, and it's still there for me. But when I left, it kind of looks the same as when I left. Like, what's going on here? Like, what are we doing? Like, so at this point, I had graduated, played in front of thousands and millions of people, and I've seen things. I've been able to travel around the country. I've been able to be a part of big productions. I've seen what it looks like up over the fence, and it's one of those things when you come back and you don't see that in your community, something's wrong. So going back to investment, that's where my mind kind of started already. Like, okay, what did they have that we don't have, and is it really that hard to get some of the things that they have over here to our community? And when I was in St. Louis, there was a lot of art, but at that time, I didn't know how to use the knowledge or the information that I'd had and turn it into knowledge just yet and invest it in my community. I was just uncertain about everything at this point. Like, okay, is the world going to end tomorrow? Is it worth doing all of this work? What's the next step? And so art re-enters my life. I want to thank art for that because it's given me so much, and it makes me think about like how art has always been around me. Going back to my pops, he looks a little older now, but still the same guy. A story about him, which kind of starts my interest in art, is so MTV is no longer a thing, right? Okay, so we can't get in trouble for this. VHS tapes, you used to be able to just record things over broadcasting. And my dad had this VHS tape that he broadcast, or it was over like when music actually used to play on MTV. And Daft Punk has this song Around the World. Okay, if you guys have not seen that video, you really need to look at it. So that's the first real time that I remember when looking at something where it's like, okay, this is art. It's saying the same thing, but the music video, how things are lined up, it takes a lot to put into this, to put out into the world. And they're putting good out into the world. Like it's for somebody. And that's the first time seeing pirated information and turning that into my love for art. And my pops is really good at that kind of stuff. I told you he's like Mr. Miyagi. He'll never give you the true answer straight up front. He'll make you think about it, and you're better for it. My mom probably has some stories about me and my dad getting into arguments when I could just be like, hey, tell me the answer to this. Come on, man. And then he's like, just think about it, and I understand now. Thank you, Poppy, when you see this. But he's always been amazing at keeping art around me. And fun fact, he has a fine arts bachelor's from Emporia State. So some way or form, go Hornets, you know. He's always been great about keeping art around me. I used to see him paint in the kitchen or in the garage, but it was nothing too verbose. It wasn't up in your face about it. It was more like this is just matter of fact. I grew up thinking everybody could paint because he would start something, he would draw something, and he'd ask me to finish it, and just little games like that. And then as I'm getting older, I'm realizing what he was doing, and he trained my hand. I just wanted to focus on sports, so when sports ended, my muscle memory, I guess, kind of brought me back to art. And I thank art for a new perspective. When you wake up every day and you work out and you work really hard and put another person in the dirt, you're out there on TV, and it's a very rough sport. So when you go from that to nothing, you have all this energy, right? And you can't just pick somebody up and slam them in the regular life. You get in trouble for that. So I had to find a new place to get that energy out, a new place to see that direct, just being able to get that energy out and see it directly in front of me and learn from it. And I've been able to do that through art. And then my mom, thanks again. This will be a through line for all of this. At this time I was working at Simmons. I was a floor manager, and it's good money, but I worked the night shift at the end of the week, so nobody wanted to show up for work, and I had to call these people, and I'm not that kind of guy. Like, if you want to work, you want to make money, like, come and do it, but I'm not gonna beg you to come do this. But at that job, you kind of have to, like, it's production. So after a particularly hard shift, I remember going to my mom being like, man, this sucks, man. Like, I'm not built for this. I don't want to do this anymore. I feel stuck. I was kind of in a manic mood. And my mom, real calmly, I'm her baby, so like she knows how to talk to me. She looks at me and she's like, okay, you have all these ideas. This is what you want to do. You don't have a wife. You don't have kids. If you're going to do something, you got to do it now, or you're going to have these responsibilities later. So usually that means, okay, like, I'll take a trip. I'll take a week off, go on vacation, go to Vegas, lose a bunch of money, all that kind of stuff. I took that as drop everything and move to Germany. So maybe not the line of thinking that everybody has, but me personally, yes. So I ended up buying the ticket that day, and had a couple months out until I needed to go. So quit the job on good terms. Shout out Simmons for giving me an opportunity. But quit on good terms, and had made enough scratch to live out there for just under about a half a year. And what I ended up doing was I bought the ticket, and long-term Airbnbs, if you guys don't know, check out long-term Airbnbs in other countries. Like, it's almost the same as renting over there, just without all the contracts. So I did leave the country, and before leaving, my mom, she writes me a letter and says, bring the love back. So this will probably be a tattoo here pretty soon. So, but it's one of those things where it's become so much a part of my life where no matter where you go, no matter what you do, people are doing good things, and you got to make sure you bring it back to your community. And a little bit before this came in the letter, my mom kind of subtly threatened me. She's like, no matter where you go in the world, I'll find you. I'll be able to get you, you know? So we want to focus on the good part here, not the threatening part, but the really good part here is just bring the love back. And so I left. I stayed in Germany. I remember getting on the plane, and it was a long, long flight. And this is the first time I'd ever been out of the country, and I don't know anybody, don't know the language that well at all. I know how to get by, I know where to get to the bathroom. Please and thank you, all the good stuff, all the Duolingo stuff. But I land in Munich, and it's a special feeling when you land in a different place where you know nobody and you have to rely on good people being good people. And that's the thing that I think we tend to forget, that there's just like us over there are great people. We don't need to focus on the bad stuff that we see, and we need to be aware. Don't get me wrong, we need to be aware of where you're going and the things happening, but in my opinion and in my experience, there are more good people than bad people, and you have to trust that. So when I landed in Munich, not speaking really a lick of German, I had to rely on some people at the airport to get me to my next destination, because you go from Munich, and then I was going to Berlin. And I had to catch a train to Berlin. And I'm looking up and I'm saying, oh yeah, I probably should have done a little more Duolingo, just a little bit more. But I was able to gesture enough and plead enough to let people know where I was going, and they got me in the right direction. They gave me some dirty looks, but hey, they got me in the right direction. And then I find myself in Alexanderplatz in Berlin, which is about a couple blocks away from where I was staying at the Airbnb. And at that point, once I checked into that Airbnb, it was kind of like a flat, and I was living with an educator from Spain, some rich, spoiled kid, and another woman from the north of Germany. And that alone kind of set the tone for my time in Germany, because I was kind of thrust into this melting pot of so many different cultures, and what you rely on is being a good person, and that's all you have to worry about. So while I was there, I had made enough money where I didn't have to work, so I would wake up in the morning and I would explore. That first 2 weeks, you just figure out where you are in Berlin, and I'm in the middle of Berlin. So like I'm taking 2 blocks this way, and I'm like looking around corners and stuff, and I'm definitely the American there, because I'm walking, I'm jaywalking, and people are looking at me like, dude, we follow rules over here. This is not how we do things. So I'm slowly picking it up. I'm figuring out where my grocery shop is, where the hospital is, where the embassy is, in case I get in trouble. So like at some point I felt comfortable enough to start actually just living there. And it took me about 2 weeks. It might be a little easier for you all, but it took me about 2 weeks before I started feeling comfortable about getting around and comfortable with getting food. So what I would do since then, since I didn't know anybody, how many of you guys had Tinder? Be truthful. Yeah. So on Tinder, you can, I opened my app and I put in my bio like, hey, just looking for friends. And I opened it up to men and women, and for the most part, it went amazing. Like people understood what I was trying to do. I just wanted to have conversation, figure out my community there. But there were a few of those interactions where they were thinking something else, and it wasn't like that. It wasn't like I had to have those conversations. But for the most part, I met some amazing people, and I met a woman, Leonie Kennedy. She's about 6 foot, has a mullet, and played electric guitar, so she was cool. And she became my more or less like guide to Berlin. And it was one of those things where you realize how much you have in common from the very beginning with people halfway across the world. They just want an easy life. They want to live good, listen to good music, eat good food, just like the rest of us. They just might speak a different language. And we spent so much time figuring out those similarities where if there were any differences, they were negligible. How I knew that she would shoot me straight is one of the first things that we did. There was it's called I forgot the exact name for it, but it was like an old water tower that they had repurposed into a venue. And on top was like a visa, so they had benches, they had areas where you could look out on the city, and that is a view from the top of the visa. And it's one of those things where we had a concert inside of the water tower. And it's like experimental DJing, and we don't sit next to each other, so I'm sitting in this experimental DJ set, and I am looking around, and like I'm seeing all these cool guys, like the piercings, like tattoos, all this kind of stuff, and I'm just like, whoa, this is everything that they wrote about. This is so cool. These are the artists. They know so much about art. And I'm sitting there, and this music that's playing, and I'm sitting there, and I'm really trying to get it. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, is this good? Like, is this good art? Because I don't think it is at all. And so I'm looking over at her, and she's like stone-faced, kind of looking at it, and I come to learn that's just kind of how Germans look sometimes. And we get out of the set, and I was like, okay, I live maybe like 3 blocks away. So I'm walking with her. I'm like, okay, I'm about to ask her, how'd you feel about this? And me thinking that was garbage. Like I'm listening. Maybe I just don't get it. I'm just an American. I don't know. I'm from Emporia. Like, so I look over there, and she's like, well, that was kind of trash. And like, so just that little interaction right there made me feel so much more comfortable about like, hey, good art is good art everywhere, and people understand it. It's important. And she then began to tell me, okay, this is what you do here in Berlin. This is our art museums. This is the Museum Island. She was an art historian, so it was very important to talk to her about, okay, this is why this happened. You don't want to like this stuff too much because that guy that makes us is a bad person, that kind of stuff. So she was an amazing guide. She guided me to great food. And when we were not together, when I was just exploring the city, I always saw art and how it interacted with the people. I would wake up in the morning, and I would go speak my broken German to the bakery owner, whose husband was a butcher, and they got to know me pretty well. I would come in and get the same thing. I would get a coffee for about €2, and then just a little pastry or something. And I was reading a lot of Hunter S. Thompson at the moment, so you can imagine I'm just like this hoity-toity guy from Kansas, like, oh, I'm so artsy now, you know. And I would go and read on the visa, and but I would walk around the city as well, and I would see how much public art that they had, and how people would interact with the art. And it made me feel so much better walking around and seeing statues, seeing murals, seeing interactive stuff to keep the people going, because like business over there is going at 100 miles per hour. And it was just so interesting to see how well they integrated art in the city. This middle photo here is actually from Krakow, Poland. I had a friend that lived here, and she moved out to Krakow, and she was like, if you're in Europe and you don't see me, don't ever talk to me again. So I spent a week down there, and we went to, it was a rave festival for a week, and at night, you would go to these different places that were set up for raves at night. And then in the morning, you would go to an educational talk at the university. So we would party hard at night, and then in the morning, they were talking about AI. So like, it was amazing. I already knew a little bit, and they were talking about how AI was the next step and how we're going to be exploring that the next 5 years. And lo and behold, like, we're where we are now. And it was just such an amazing experience to not only drink in the culture, but also be learning about something that would be affecting all of us. And it was put together in such an artsy way that I feel like it changed the way that I thought about how art could be used. Not just as like, hey, this looks pretty over here, but this is an opportunity for information. This is an opportunity for knowledge. And it's super important that that happened, because in that same trip, I met Vitor. He's my Portuguese friend, Portuguese prince. He's one of those people where, you know, if you meet them and then you instantly realize they'll be a part of your life for the rest of your life, that's one of those guys. Shout out to Sporting, you know. He's a former athlete, loves good music, loves good food, so we instantly got along, and we stayed in contact. The rest of the time that I was in Germany, continued to do the same thing, searched for the art, saw how people reacted to it, did my studying, read my books. I was the international artist. I do have some paintings that are up in homes in Germany, in Berlin specifically. So they're living their lives out there. And I came back home with a new sense of responsibility. And it's an ownership of what you mean to your community and how you can use this information in your vision and turn that into knowledge. And one of those things is, we all get information. The only way you turn information into knowledge is if you act on it, put it into action. And Emporia, like I said, it hadn't changed much, but I had gone to these faraway places and learned so much that when I came back, I had a plan. Like, it means I'm now able to turn this into knowledge and use my community as a sounding board and use that as more or less a canvas. And that's where House of Morrow kind of came into existence. House of Morrow, I came back and I did leadership in Emporia, and Rebecca Herrera. We had a gentleman's agreement where I would be her salsa partner, and she would help me start a nonprofit. And in the arts, House of Morrow, I'll just read this for you. House of Morrow is a local fund under the Emporia Community Foundation nonprofit founded in Emporia, Kansas, primarily aiming to promote public art and services in Emporia community. And our mission is to strengthen underserved communities in the Emporia area through cultivation of public arts and services. Some notable wins that we do have, we have an amazing literacy program, and that's done by Lindsay Garcia. She's not here today, but she's amazing. She does amazing work, and we couldn't have done it without her. But she runs a program where we turn fifth graders into authors, and we get an anthology. We get their information. We have them write poems. We have them write whatever they want to write, and we have them illustrate it, and then we turn it into a book. And it's different from just something that you do for school. It's something that we get them in front of the community, and we build that public speaking, which everybody still needs a little work on that. So it turns it into something that the youth are looking at. Those second graders, those third graders, those fourth graders are looking at that thinking, I'm next, I can be this. And they're authors in the fifth grade. So when they're graduating, they do have that 10 to 12 years of experience that everybody's looking for. But we've done amazing work with that, and we're north of 150 students, authors from Emporia, Kansas, which is amazing work. We also do work in like public spaces. So I've had the opportunity to work with FHTC on placemaking, and we worked with their adult education area to make that place more conducive to learning. We put up a mural. We got information on how to get garden beds for them so that area could be better for those people that are trying to learn. And we want to serve those underserved communities. We just had a Drag is Art show, and we were able to raise enough money to do that again this year, and we want to be able to provide people with an opportunity to give the community a first look at who they are, make them confident. Confidence is one of those things that if you have confident youth, you have confident voters in the future that can tell you what they need. And then being able to be confident means that you're not scared to ask for help. This is us with the governor. We just got an award. All the hard work that we're doing is because of our community here. I'm thankful for the support of our community, and it allows us to do good work in our community. So thank the community, thank the kids, thanks Kansas for recognizing the work that we've been able to do. And that board is full of amazing people that are doing amazing things. I practice what I preach. I can't just tell the kids to put art out there and do good work. I am a practicing artist. I say artist because if you're willing to teach me, I'm willing to learn. I'm painting at the moment, but if you're willing to teach me, I'm willing to learn. I'm a working artist, so domestic and internationally, I have stuff here. This is some of the stuff I have that was at Nebraska University. Downstairs, actually, that's the first show that I've curated for Black History Month, and it's still up if you guys want to check it out. It is downstairs when you first get downstairs, and I hope to keep curating shows and learning more. But I did not go to school for art. It's one of those things where sometimes I feel like it would have benefited me, but at this point, if you're just willing to do the work and talk a little bit of smack, somebody's willing to hear you, and they'll give you an opportunity. One thing about bringing the love back is I talk about community, and my friend Danny here, go ahead and give him a princess wave, Danny. There we go. He is amazing videographer and amazing writer, and when people like our communities that create, get together and work together, it may not start out with a whole lot of money behind what you're doing, but it's important work that you guys get together and look at the world differently and then combine it so that you can bring whatever you're seeing back to the people that you love in your communities. Danny's my brother. And it's one of those things where he's another one of those people. He's with me for life, man. I'm sorry. But we were able to visit my man Vitor. So remember I was talking about Vitor? He's always telling me, you got to come out to Lisbon. You got to do these things out in Lisbon. I'm like, okay, I'll come out there. So I went out there previously, and he gave me 2 weeks of not the touristy stuff. I'm not riding in those double-decker buses. I'm not taking those tours, and that's not what I like to do. So I'm with him, and I'm meeting his friends, and he's introducing me to these people, and we're growing our network, and we're figuring out, oh, this is what your community does to come together. And he came back to Kansas that next year, and I think we ended up putting like 10 pounds on him, man. It's a different kind of food. But I gave him the very best that I could do, and one of the first people that he met was Danny, and I can't thank Danny enough for being a good steward. Got him down to Emporia. We got him J's, so we got him the very best of what we have here. And our greatest export in Emporia is the people. So very important that he meet my family and Danny and the people that I love and care about, because I know they would take care of him. So after that, we were planning another trip, and since Danny was such a good steward the first time, I wanted to be able to provide this opportunity to go out to Lisbon with me to visit him. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. because we were able. What I told you, he's a hell of a videographer. So he brought his camera out there, and he was riding out there, and I was painting out there, and I ended up putting up some clips that we had together out there, all done by Danny, and I thank him very much for doing it. It kind of gives you a little glimpse of what we've been able to do. All the audio is audio from Lisbon, short stuff, everything that I use in this video. And I want to give you an opportunity to check this out. And I'm telling you, it kind of changes your brain chemistry when you're over there, because you're seeing the love, the care, and how people go about dealing with the same problems that we have. And it's a beautiful thing that we're able to go there and then come back and then invest that into our communities. So take a look at this video that I kind of put together. Okay, so all that being said, there's some responsibilities as an artist or as a creative. I think it's important that you create as much as possible. Somebody needs it. Invest in your community, and especially from creatives, I think we need to explore more about how we can do this at a city level. Like, think about making your community and your environment better through the arts. And that's not just painting walls, that's talking about policies that affects other artists here, the people that are kind of marginalized right now. You have to have a voice for those people. So do what you can with the skills that you've acquired to make noise about what's important. Be the best representative you can be. If I learned this one is special because we were in a lot of positions overseas where this person might not ever see me again, or another American. And I want that to be the best experience that they've ever had, because we don't look so good in the news. So if there's an opportunity for you to be the best representative you can be, please do that. And bring the love back. Before I go, this is Kansas Art Network. I'll send this out, or somebody will send this out. They have a lot going on with grants. If you want to know what's going on at the state level, check out Kansas Art Network. If you want to check out our website, House of Morrow, we have volunteering. If you want to be involved with the arts, if you just want to come to some of our meetings, please reach out. And I also work for United Way. Things are getting harder in the world, but I work for an organization that if you donate or want to be involved, please reach out, because we have direct impact on our communities, and it's very important work. Thank you. Oh, yes. Any questions? Yeah. Any questions here? It was one of those places where my father, for some reason, he had a lot of information on, like books and stuff. So that was one of those things. And it's an art community. It's an art city. So for Europe. So it's one of those things where if I wanted to learn about arts, that was one of the best places to be. I have a few shows with ESU, and I think it's about making sure that the art that I am making is documented and I can share that to other people, because a lot of dealing with art right now is I don't have it just available, and my CV isn't that great. So like I just haven't been keeping track of it. So getting it on a website and applying for these residencies, and a lot of it is just talking smack, man. Like if somebody is in a good spot, I'm not above going and asking them, like, how can I get this in front of you? And I'm kind of confident in that aspect, which it might not be the way for everybody, but if you don't ask, they can't help you. So doing a lot of outreach and just creating really good stuff personally, and then working with cities, working with municipalities to put art up, make opportunity through House of Morrow, and then invest in our community. Yes, Mom.
Who do you love more, your mother?
I'm going to say you because you're about 10 feet away from me right now. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
What's the hardest thing about being vulnerable?
I think it's one of those things where it's all you. Like, your story is your story, but if you're too scared to tell that and make people feel a way about it, like if you're too closed up to actually show the feelings that you're feeling, how can you express how you really feel? Yeah.
So who are some of the artists that you have been looking towards in terms of inspiration, or help you like think about your own practice, whether current artists or past artists?
I have a lot of good friends that have great taste in music, and a lot of my stuff is music based. And I keep good company with poets and writers, and that kind of leads me down the rabbit hole of, like, I like painting concepts, and people who read and people who write are endless in inspiration. So
to support the ESU Art Forum program, please visit emporia.edu/art. Click on the Events tab, scroll down to the Art Forum link and click. Then scroll down to the Support Art Forum button and click. Finally, choose your donation level and click on the Continue button to complete the process. We appreciate your support.